Welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at a brand new game from Worthington called Struggle for Europe, 1939-1945. So this is a two-player game, and it's... got it upside down here. Fairly simple game. It's a card-driven game. You use cards to do a lot of different things like moving, recruiting, special actions, all this kind of stuff. They say it's about 2 hours long. Now, this is designed by, I believe it's Grant. And I can't see where it says that. Usually the Wiley brothers are the ones that do all of their games. But this game, it uses the same system as Lincoln, which was a collaboration between Worthington and PSC Games, and was a very, very enjoyable US Civil War game. It's obviously at a very high level, as is this, but it was a fun game. So this uses a very similar core system, so I'm hoping that also we get a good, enjoyable game out of it. That's really what I'm looking for from this title. So in the box we have, looks like a rules book, which is, this is interesting. Do I have two rules books? Yes, I do. Okay, they include two rules books, so we can each get one copy each. Really, though, it's, and this is examples, so 6 pages of rules. And that's what I mean by this being a very simple and easy to learn game. 6-7 pages of rules at most. So you'll be able to pick this one up, learn it very, very quickly. And then we have the map, which we'll take a look at here in just a second. And then we have 4 sheets of counters. Okay, we do a lot of counters. And then there's a bunch of cards in here as well. So, counters. These are pre-rounded, very clear counters, right? And it's force strengths. There's 1s, there's 2s, 3s, and they got them on the back as well. And these almost, fall right out, and these are punched very, very well. A lot of pre-punched ones have those kind of side nibs. These do not. These are very, very well cut counters. That's always something I appreciate from Worthington. Their counters are always nice like that. And you see you've got Americans, and you got some British troops down here as well. Then we also have Germans. And there's some German tanks. The tanks are just a higher denomination of unit, I believe. They just use a tank because, the tanks. Strong force has tanks. It looks like we've got an Atlantic wall. Like these look like defensive fortresses as well. And on the back again, it's... are those the same on the back? Yep, they're the same. There's no difference on the back. They're just the same numbers. And then some control markers. We have Soviet forces, also a ton of infantry, also a bunch of tanks as well, and a bunch of control markers. Again, this is the same on the back. And we have more British units, a lot of infantry, some nice Churchills there, and all of our little control markers as well. So, counters-wise, there's not a ton of counters. It's 4 sheets, which in every other game would be a lot, but it's really not because these are big and there's a lot of space on the sprues. They do give us a bag full of bags for all of those. This isn't some super crunchy war game, so you can just toss them all in the bags, no big deal. We got a couple decks of cards, and the decks of cards... Let's make sure there's nothing else in there. There is not. Okay. A couple decks of cards. So, these are going to be asymmetrical decks of cards for use in this game. So we have the Allied deck, and it's very big. And then we have the Axis deck, which is probably 2/3 the size. Yeah, you can kind of see how different they are in size. That's significant. And let's see, I don't exactly know. I'll have to check the symbology in this, but the cards are divided up. Well, Probably not in this one. So, the German player's got a deck of cards they're going to cycle through, but the important part with the Allies, their deck is divided into a series of kind of progressive decks. And I think it's like, you know, you use the first deck when it's just, you know, it's the early war, so invasion of Poland, France, Battle of Britain. Then as soon as Russia gets invaded, you add the next deck. Or as soon as they enter the war, you add the next deck, so the Allies become more powerful. And then once you get to the third deck, that represents the US joining the war. It's very abstract, but the Allied deck grows stronger over time, and I believe that the Axis one doesn't, particularly at least. It grows significantly less, but it's a nice way to mark passage of time in a somewhat abstract way and represent the growth of forces without it being, you know, obnoxiously complicated. The board itself is a point-to-point, very functional map here, and this is basically it. In each space you'll have holding boxes for control and for army stacks and things like that. But as you can see, okay, it looks like we got... This starts at, it's 1939, so Warsaw's already been captured. So you've got your Central Powers, the Axis here, and everything else. I don't know if these are more neutral spaces. Looks like it. Those will be taken because you've got British or Allied spaces here in the blue. This is okay. So these blue spaces are different from these grey spaces, but that's kind of tricky to see, if I'm honest with myself. Like, this is dark grey background is Germany, and then this dark blue background is France and the UK. That's a little bit tricky to see. You know, historically speaking, but just they could have used more distinct colours on that maybe. But other than that, it's a very clean board. You're going to be moving stacks of counters around of 4 strength, and the really cool part about this system is you can't make change with your forces, and so you have to have. That's why they give you so many of these 1 counters. When you're making stacks, you need powerful ones, but if you have to take a loss and you only have 2-3 counters, that 1 loss will be 3 strength points, and so you need to have. You hate to say body bags, but you do, and so your stack construction is really important. And how you attack and defend is really cool, where you might do an attack, and however many losses they take, you have to take like half that as the attacker. So you get into the attritional side of things without it being mega crunchy. So Lincoln's a favorite of ours. I really liked that game. It's very fun, very interesting, kind of a new style that I've not played before. And so seeing it in World War II Europe should be good fun to play as well. This one, I think this is touted a little bit longer. This is 2 hours. I think we were able to play Lincoln in just over 1 hour. Because once you get it, it goes pretty quick at a good clip. And you're just cycling through your cards. You'll have a hand of cards, and it'll say, you know, you can put out any one of these guys with this card. Or, or you can play an event. Or you can play it for either of these 2 ops, you know, either some air power or a move operation. So in that way, you've got some familiarity with kind of the core function of CDGs in that sense. You're using the cards for one of the functions on there, and depending on what you use them for, they might go out of the game. So if you're using really good cards that go out of the game, you're denying yourself the other powers for those in the long term as well. So there's also choices to be made in that instance as well. So this is a game I'm actually very excited for. Again, really liked Lincoln, and this uses this at least a similar system. So I could not be more excited for this. So we'll play this as soon as we get the opportunity to do so. But if you're interested, this is Struggle for Europe 1939-1945 from Worthington. Check it out, and I appreciate you tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.